Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday, and today we have a really fun challenge. It's called the Paper Airplane Challenge, and you can do a lot of things with this. You don't have to just make a paper airplane, but we're going to talk you through some cool ways to challenge yourself with airplane building and engineering an airplane that can fly the farthest. A couple of reminders that we did mail out Alka-Seltzer, so keep an eye out for some Strive mail if you requested those. Also, if you haven't tried the digital breakout yet, that would be a super awesome way to do some family bonding. It's for kids of all ages. So if you haven't checked that out yet, it is on our website, which is www.striveacademy.org. And also, if you are tagging us, make sure you use the hashtag SteamWithStrive. No one posted their message in a bottle yesterday. Let us know how that went. Did your message stay dry? I know Harper wanted some more bacon in her note that she posted. Did anyone else have a fun message that they posted in their message in a bottle? Today we're going to be doing a read along. We're going to be working with I Am Amelia Earhart, because we are sticking with the flying theme. I am Amelia Earhart. When I was little, people told me that girls should wear dresses and play dolls. They said we shouldn't have unladylike adventures. I didn't agree. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my sister and I decided to build our own roller coaster in our backyard. We placed 2 planks of wood up against the side of our tool shed. The cab was a wooden packing box with roller skate wheels attached to the bottom. We greased the wood with lard so we'd move super fast. Of course, I got to ride first. This was my moment. I still remember the wind in my face. My stomach seemed to sink. I was flying. The crash was loud and noisy and messy. It certainly wasn't ladylike, but it was awesome. It wasn't the last time I would fly. As I got older, I went to many air shows. But when I was 23 years old, but still a kid at heart, my dad took me to meet Frank Hawks, a man who would eventually set many of his own flight records. For $10, Hawks agreed to take me on my very first flight. For 10 minutes, we flew through the sky and out over the Pacific Ocean. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew one thing: I had to fly. To save for my flying lessons, I worked as a truck driver, which wasn't ladylike either, a stenographer, which is a fancy schmancy word for someone who writes down what people say, and even a photographer. 6 months after I learned to fly, I bought a bright yellow used biplane I named Canary. Canary is a cool name for a plane, right? But here's my secret. I wasn't a natural. I wasn't the best pilot. I just worked harder than anyone else. Most important, like the day on the roller coaster, I dared to do what so many said couldn't be done. I became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, and then the first woman to fly by myself across the Atlantic. Back then, people took boats to get to Europe, sailing for weeks. Planes were still a new thing. In fact, on the day I took off, one magazine ran an article that said women should never be able to fly that far. To do it, I had to fly for 14 hours and 56 minutes with no rest and no breaks. Sometimes the sun was so blinding, I could barely see where I was going. In the process, I also broke the record for crossing the ocean in the shortest time, doing it faster than any man or woman ever. Then I broke an altitude record, which is just a fancy schmancy way of saying I went higher than anyone else. How high did I go? About 12 Empire State Buildings straight up at the time when no woman had ever gone that high. In my life, I took many flights. Every single time there was someone who said that I wouldn't be able to do it. Never let anyone stop you. Whatever your dream is, chase it. Work hard for it. You will find it. It's the best lesson I can give you. I am Amelia Earhart. I know no bounds, and I hope you'll remember that the greatest flight you'll ever take is the one that no one has tried before. And there's a real picture of Amelia Earhart. So this book was about taking risk and, going out and chasing your dreams. And so today we're going to not fly in an airplane, but we're going to make some paper airplanes. So to do that, you just need a couple different kinds of paper. So you can use computer paper, you can use construction paper, you can use cardstock, whatever you have, or you could try to use thin cardboard, like a cardboard box that you have food in. You can use whatever kind of paper that you want. Tape, we're going to add some weight, so we suggest some tape or some coins, but you could use Q-tips, you could use toothpicks, anything that you could add weight to it. Our engineering design process handout, and then a pen or a pencil. So what you're going to do is you're going to get all of your materials. You are going to make a paper airplane. And if you don't know how to make a paper airplane, you can experiment around with that, or you can do a quick Google search of how to make the basic paper airplane. And then you're going to figure out a starting line. So in your kitchen, or if it's nice and you can go outside, mark a starting line, and you're going to, from that starting line, you are going to, sorry, I forgot the hypothesis. So on your hypothesis, your question today, which is super important, is what will make my airplane fly the farthest? So would it be the different types of paper? Would it be adding weight or taking away weight, or doing different folding, whatever you think is going to make your airplane fly the farthest? So once you make your paper airplane, you're going to make a starting line. And that starting line doesn't have to be anything fancy. You could use sidewalk chalk, you could use a piece of tape, you could use a line on your floor. And you are going to throw your paper airplane, make sure that no one's in your way. And you are going to measure how far it flew. So you could do this a couple different ways. You can use your feet, so you could measure how many steps it takes. You could use a ruler, you could use a measuring tape, you could use a piece of string. So you could use a lot of different ways to measure how far your airplane goes. So it doesn't have to be necessarily in a unit. So you don't have to say like it went this many feet or this many inches. You just need to know if it went 10 of your footsteps, you need to know that it went 10 of your footsteps, because you're going to measure that against your next flight. So you're going to do three flights of your original airplane. And once you are done doing your 3 flights, you're going to record those distances on your worksheet or on a piece of paper if you don't have the worksheet. Then you're going to go back and you're going to make some changes. So every good science experiment, you test some variables. You're going to test different ways to make it better. So you're going to change one thing. So you can change the type of paper. You could add some weight. You could add some tape. But you're going to make a new airplane just changing one thing. So then you're going to do that. You're going to throw it 3 times. And you are going to, you can keep doing this and keep doing this if you want to keep making it better. But then under your results, you're going to put which airplane flew the furthest distance and which one flew the least furthest distance or the shortest distance. And then your analysis questions for today are: what changes did you make to your original airplane? How did the changes affect the flight? So did it make it go farther? Did it make it go shorter distance? And if you were to design your own paper airplane again, what changes would you make so it would fly farther? So we have some cool extension activities. You can Google some different types of paper airplanes. There are a ton out there. Someone just shared with me that the Air Force has a PDF of a super cool fighter jet that you can make, and maybe I'll post that to the website. But there's the basic, the Sprinter, the Buzz. So you could try to make different paper airplanes. And then after you have made those, think through like, why did that make those such a good paper airplane? What was it about it that made them fly the farthest? So take some videos, take some pictures of us flying your airplanes. Make sure that you use the hashtag #SteamWithStrive. And also, as you all start to get your Alka-Seltzer, let us know that you're getting those so that we know that you are ready. Tomorrow we'll be doing a super fun volcano experiment. So if you are ready for some exploding volcanoes, we will have that for you tomorrow. So hope you guys are all hanging in there, staying happy and healthy, and we will see you tomorrow.